All right, so it's quarantine time, so we're going to take the opportunity tonight to go back and relive the 2019 Conference USA Championship game played in Birmingham, Alabama last year. I'm Malcolm Butler. I'm the Associate AD for Communications at Louisiana Tech, and I've gotten the privilege to be the SID for softball and the radio broadcaster for softball for the last 20 years. And tonight, joined by our five seniors from 2019, who all played a huge role in us winning this conference championship title. So plan on having a good time tonight, plan on getting the players' perspective of watching this game. And I think most of them have never gone back and watched this game. So they played in it, but they haven't gone back and watched it. So I'm going to go around the room and let everybody introduce themselves, kind of tell us where you're joining us from tonight. And then we'll go from there.
All right, Berkeley Callup. I'm currently in Reno, Nevada.
Jazz Crowder. I'm currently in Shreveport.
Crystal De La Cruz. I'm in Austin, Texas.
Did we lose Presley?
I think so.
I don't see her. Yeah, she's not on here.
All right. Well, Mo, tell us where you're from, and we'll just wait for Presley to get back with us.
Okay. Morgan Tricoli. I'm in Dallas, Texas.
All right. So we are scattered all over the place, and when Presley comes back to us, we will talk to her as well. But what a season last 2 years ago. I keep saying last year. I guess it was last year. We would be still playing softball this year. If there's Presley. Presley, you want to introduce yourself? Tell us where you're at.
I'm in Whitesboro, Texas. My name is Presley Galloway.
All right. So we've got the broadcast of the game up here, and we're going to get the players' perspective. And before we have the first pitch, as you can tell, they're kind of setting up the broadcast of the game. Just let's talk a little bit about this group of seniors, 4 years with Louisiana Tech. Who can tell me how many wins you guys combined for in 4 years? Who knows that number?
A lot.
A lot. 147 wins, the second most by a senior class in Techster history. 66 of those were Conference USA victories, the most by any senior class in Tech history. And last year in 2019, this championship game, this group won 45 games, which was the second most in program history. So definitely a star-studded group that won a couple of conference tournament championships, one regular season championship, and had 2 NCAA appearances. So this game, if y'all remember, we had to bump this game time up, if I'm not mistaken. We dealt with rain this entire week in Birmingham. Something about weather and us winning conference tournament championships, because in 17, when you guys won it in Hattiesburg, heck, we didn't play our opening game till first pitch was about 11:30 that night or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do y'all remember going into this game? You guys had played them the day before?
Mm-hmm. 2 days.
The day before on Friday, beat them 5-4. They rebounded and beat North Texas 1-0. They beat us 2 out of 3 up in Huntington, West Virginia earlier in the year. So going into this ball game, I guess kind of somebody give me the overall feelings. Were you loose? Were you nervous? What was the feeling around the team?
I think it was a pretty loose feeling in terms of confidence. I think when we beat them earlier on in the tournament, it kind of showed that we brought a better game. When we played them down in Huntington, we really – honestly, I think that was our worst series of Conference USA regular season. So, I think we had a little chip on our shoulder going into playing them in this tournament just because they did not get our best game down in Huntington.
Crystal, you're getting a start in this game. You got the start against FIU back in 2017 in Hattiesburg. We won that game 1-0 on Pauline's solo home run in the 7th inning. Having already had that experience one time in your career, I guess kind of tell a little bit about what your feelings were as you were stepping up to the circle.
I was pretty confident. I was obviously trying to get back from them from that bad weekend we had at their home. And we also went in there with a plan that Coach Montgomery had with us with Presley and Jenny. He just wanted a strong start, so I was just trying to do that for the team.
I know you guys being veterans and y'all had all played in that 17 conference tournament when we won is the first pitch of the game right here. Berkeley, talk a little bit about, as a senior, it's easy to kind of be calm in this moment. We had a lot of younger players that had to play big roles for us in this ball game. Just talk a little bit about what is an upperclassman you guys kind of told the Lindsey Edwards of the world.
Well, we definitely related it to our sophomore year and our experience then, because we were sophomores when we won that conference tournament. So we just told them to take deep breaths and enjoy the moment. Don't let the moment get too big. And they did a great job. They stepped up when they needed to also.
Crystal, when you're out there in the circle, how do you know, how early in the game do you know what, I got my good stuff?
Basically when I wake up in the morning.
So you felt pretty good?
No, I felt pretty great.
So what is working for you when you had your good stuff?
Basically my curveball. I knew
The drop curve. Don't lie.
the curveball and the drop curve was going to get me through the game. 'Cause I know that's what I had made a mistake with when we played them at their home field.
Yeah, that series up there was quite the slugfest, wasn't it?
Just a little.
Yeah, I think I'd take part in that.
Yeah. I remember, we had to come back from in game one from a big deficit and beat them. There's Crystal with the strikeout of the first batter. And then I think
That was definitely a tone point.
they run ruled us, didn't they, in game two?
Yes.
Beat us
I think
8
it was back and forth, but yeah, I mean, I think that's what happened.
and then
I think they hit a walk-off grand slam that run ruled us, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right, Jazz.
I think that pitch was down the middle.
This is like, if I'm not mistaken, like, I don't remember vividly.
That's a negative pass. I don't remember those.
It was definitely in right center field.
Oh, God.
This young lady at the plate, Allie Harrell, Presley, talk a little bit about her and as a pitcher trying to face this young lady.
Well, it was definitely a challenge whenever we were at Marshall, and then we knew, me and Crystal and Jenny, whenever we had to go to conference tournament, she was one of the biggest threats on their team. So I think going into it, we had to set a tone for ourselves and go at her and go balls to the wall for this one.
What's the game plan when you're facing Allie Harrell, Crystal?
Low and outside.
Low and outside.
Because I gave her a low inside and it was not pretty.
Maryland back. She had missed the last, 4 or 5 games of the regular season, and she went down against Western Kentucky. How nice was it to have her back behind the plate?
It was comforting. She knows me and Presley in the back of her head.
Mm-hmm.
There's a low and outside.
There you go.
Yeah.
What are y'all's favorite uniforms?
Mm.
Y'all don't like the pinstripes, do you?
Red, black, red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
blue, black were always the best. The pinstripes, I will say, I think they look pretty good, but yeah, comfort-wise,
Yeah, the top was
they
not.
weren't at the top.
Well, I like the pinstripes if we wore blue pinstripe pants and then blue stirrups, but not all pin. I hate that uniform.
Strong opinions.
Yeah.
It looks really good. It was just so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I like the pins and I like the grays.
Mm-hmm.
Any jersey that didn't have a button going down, because every time I pitched, it looked like one of the buttons were going to pop.
I can't remember her name, but this girl up to bat did really good in the tournament
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Maya-
she did.
Maya Stevenson.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about her. Crystal, give me a little scout on her.
She was a freshman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and she hit a bomb off me in this game.
Yeah, right center.
She does get their own look.
So she's a really good hitter, and we definitely plan to work around her.
And on the hands?
Yeah, that was the plan for the second at bat. I'm not sure about the first one that I remember, but
Well, I'm
she's
pretty
pretty good and powerful.
sure whatever it was, I think you did a pretty good job right there.
That was a drop ball.
You know. So 3 up, 3 down. You're feeling pretty good right now, Crystal?
For sure.
So is Addie. Oh God.
Commercial break. Well, not much of a commercial break. They cut that one out. So there's Coach. Looking like he's unhappy.
I think he's nervous.
I think he's, yeah.
He's quiet when it comes to championship games.
You always know Coach was nervous when he was picking up stuff off the field.
Throwing it off the side.
My needles.
Why are we cleaning the grass right now?
So Abigail Tolbert is the pitcher. She was their ace. I think she was second team All Conference USA that year in 2019. Mo, give me a little bit of a scouting report on Tolbert.
Yeah, so she was definitely more of a like what you call like a spinny pitcher. She definitely spun the ball. She wanted you. I feel like she wanted you to kind of chase her pitches, which whether that was out of the zone or not, she wasn't going to blow it by you with speed or anything like that. But she did put a lot of spin on the ball.
I also think what made her so good is she changed speed so much. It was so hard to get timing down against her.
And her pitches kind of like looked the same. They were just different speeds. Like out of the hand, they looked identical. They were just different speeds out of the hand. And I remember like hitting off of her in the box. She like almost cupped every pitch, like turned it up. So I don't know if it was like a wrist snap or what, but a lot of her pitches spun the same way. They were just thrown at different speeds, and she was really good at hiding that in terms of like not giving it away with her body, slowing down at all, things like that.
So against a pitcher like that, Berkeley, what's the key for you as a hitter?
Well, honestly, it's just seeing the ball out of her hand and trying to make contact. I remember specifically against her, I would cut the plate in half, focusing on either inside or an outside pitch. I don't really remember what side of the plate I was protecting, but that was kind of my approach when I was facing her.
So would you change that pitch to pitch or at bat to at bat?
A bat to at bat, typically on what she would throw me, like the last time we faced her, when we watched film and stuff. From what I can remember, she would always attack me outside because I sometimes struggled with the outside pitches. But yeah, at bat to at bat, depending on how she threw us.
So Mo, as you're standing in there right now, first at bat against, of course, you'd already faced her a number of times. What's your approach?
I was really thinking, if I can remember correctly, but in this at bat, I wanted to attack her early. I thought she left pitches over the plate more early on in the count. So I wanted to attack her early and then honestly just seeing the ball deep, because the further I saw her ball into my bat, like I knew it wasn't necessarily the speed to blow it by me, but it would move in terms of spin. So just to see it deep and attack early into the count.
Well, it worked.
Yep.
I think that was a big hit that first inning too,
Mm-hmm.
like to come out on top.
I was
And that's
pretty fired up.
yeah, well, we're going to circle back to that later on. That's one thing in this tournament that we did a good job of in every game is we jumped out in that first inning. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the win over Middle Tennessee and then the win over Marshall on Friday, both times, Bo, didn't you get on and then somebody behind you hit one out of the park?
Yeah, someone. I don't know who.
Must have been the
Yeah,
year and the.
just a random. I'm pretty sure it was like opposite field every time too,
Like,
except
well,
that Middle Tennessee ball. I don't know where that ball is.
Yeah, that was far.
Yeah, but I think I know it's about to come up here. Jazz was seeing a beach ball this tournament though, the whole time.
Mhm.
You've seen it the whole season.
I struggled off of her though. Really struggled off of her.
Why is that, Jazz?
I just could never I feel like she mixed up her locations and her pitches. She never threw me the same thing in two at bats. Like she never got me on the same pitch twice, basically. And usually when a pitcher all season, if a pitcher got me on like a curveball or something, as soon as I stepped into the box the next at bat, I almost knew immediately what they were going to throw me. And she didn't throw that way at all.
So first and third here, only one out.
I remember talking to Jazz in this huddle because her hit was, that hit was so hard opposite field, but I paused at second base and I was kind of mad at myself because I didn't have a good enough idea of where my fielders were, that I kind of hesitated a little bit getting my lead off, and I thought I could have scored on that pitch otherwise, or on that hit otherwise.
Now you're also used to her hitting it over the fence, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I was just used to jogging. She got me in the mindset that I was just gonna get the jog from second base to home.
Did we have anyone out in this tournament, like injured?
Oh yeah. Let's see. Maryland had just come back. AJ, when did she get hurt? Did she get
her knee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
her meniscus.
Was it
as in this tournament, wasn't it?
I think so. Because that's why I was playing, because my hand was all messed up.
Yeah. And of course Zoe was out with the broken ankle.
Yeah.
Mm,
Addison had been out all year. But yeah, we were the walking wounded by the time we got into the postseason.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good numbers we had against her this year. You know, I remember I had a note going into this championship game that I gave TV. It looked like a hit, but they had her played just right there.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a hit. Almost got out.
You know, that was good base running not to get doubled up. But against you take Presley and Crystal obviously out of the equation. They were both all conference, but we didn't obviously have to bat against our own teammates. But the other four all conference pitchers last year, or that year in 2019, we went 8-1 against those four kids they had an ERA over 6. So what made us so good against the best arms in the league?
Presley and Crystal.
Yeah. And I think we just prepared for aces. That's just something our practice plans were geared around. We studied film on them. We knew kind of when they got into a pattern, what their go-to pitch was, what they were going to try to get you with. And I think we just did a good job as a team studying ace pitchers and coming up with a game plan to get them out of the game fast.
Mm-hmm.
You say preparation and studying. What were some of the drills you guys, I can remember going to practice, some of the drills y'all had to do early in the week preparing for an ace pitcher? Some of them y'all hated.
Yeah.
Um,
A couple of them were like hitting off this wild machine that threw the most movement you've ever seen. And it's like, if you fouled a ball off, it was like fantastic. It was like you just hit a home run. So
yeah.
that was one of the things we did, and we would set up pitches that was kind of like their go-to, and just drill you with this machine that had pretty crazy movement.
Mhm.
I low-key thought that machine was gonna wind up in the dumpster somewhere, like not show up at practice.
Didn't even take it.
It would have been me and Jazz taking it out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I hated that machine. Oh man.
Lindsey Edwards at the plate here. Just talk a little bit about what she did last year as a freshman.
Oh my gosh.
What did she?
What didn't she do?
Got a glove, that's what I know.
She just killed it.
She definitely played like an upperclassman.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
She's just, you don't really see that in a freshman, to be that confident on the field, to be that confident in the box, that young, and she just was completely confident and killed it.
Yeah, she had like a calmness about her too. Like, she was never up and down. She was just steady all the time. It didn't matter
Mhm.
like when it came to her mindset, her attitude, her play on the field. It was just steady, and there's not much more you can ask from, especially a freshman. Like, you just don't see that in freshmen coming in, much less anyone else. Like, I mean, there's just not much else you could have asked for her than to be that steady player the whole time.
Well, and she was in the lineup where she was because she proved herself from day one, even in scrimmages and stuff. I remember like, holy crap, this girl's a tank.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we threatened, but we didn't get them in there. But 0-0 after one. First time in the tournament we didn't score in the first inning. Crystal, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing since you graduated. Catch us up on Crystal De La Cruz.
I actually accepted a job the day after I graduated in the summer over here in the Austin region. It's for Baylor Scott and White, the hospital that's based out of Dallas. They opened up a new facility over here, so I started fresh with a new office and new teams and everybody, and we opened up like 2 weeks after I moved. I'm an analyst and just basically working that Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30 job, and then on weekends sometimes I go home and give pitching lessons, go fishing, work out, just basic non-athletic life now.
Now, your freshman year, you went to A&M International, right?
Correct.
So give us a little 30 to 45 second synopsis of how you got to Louisiana Tech.
It was really unexpected, honestly. I went into my sophomore year actually ready to move into my apartment in Laredo, Texas. I was packed up and ready to go, and my pitching coach and Coach Montgomery and my Bombers coach were communicating back and forth, and I was actually at the school ready to go to my lab class, like the first day of class, and Coach Montgomery called me and he's like, if you step foot in class, you can't transfer over here. So we did that last minute visit, last minute transfer, and it was a great opportunity that I received.
It worked out for both parties.
Sure did.
So what's he thinking right now?
Oh,
We need to score.
Keep them off the bases.
don't hit him since I hit my pitches. Ooh.
I think he was Coach Montgomery was really big on momentum. So even though we didn't score that first inning, we still got 2 runners into scoring position. So we definitely had the momentum at this point of the game. So I think that he was just do everything we can to keep the momentum. You know, don't let any runners into scoring position. Don't let them score. You know, don't let them think that they have a chance, basically.
In a game like this, how important is it to be the team that scores first, or is it?
I think it's really important to score first, because once you score first, like, you don't get complacent, but everyone, those nerves and the stress and the tenseness from it being the championship, I feel like you kind of relax just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think scoring first just sets a tone of the game, no matter what team you're on. Whichever team scores first, they just set the first tone. So it's up to the other team to either match it or fall down.
You hear coaches and sometimes you hear players all the time, it's just another game. We're going to play it just like it's just another game. Is it really just another game?
No, not at this point.
I just think it definitely wasn't another game, not to like bring up bad stuff, but the year before this, we were predicted to win conference tournament, and we didn't play well at all at the end of the season. So I think especially the upperclassmen, just returners in general, we wanted to win this so bad, and we were just, I truly think the tone of this tournament was just determined. We wanted another ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, we win in
I mean, at this stage and at this point, it's to the point where, like, you either win this or you're done.
Mm-hmm.
And so that mindset alone was something I think that this class took into effect too. So yeah, like maybe you say it's just another softball game, but it also can be the end for our careers. So that was another factor that really played heavy.
Well, and also I think us going to Marshall and not having a good turnout, like they literally hammered us, and with the tornado and everything, I think us seniors were like, no, we're winning this thing, like nothing's stopping us now. We've gone through way too much.
Well, this was a scary offensive Marshall team, wasn't it, Press?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Every hitter in the lineup, you know, you had to keep it on the corners or even the black, or keep it low somewhere where they can just get a ground ball or something. I mean, Crystal did a great job with her drop curve, that's for sure.
What pitch was that right there, Crystal, you struck her out on?
Backdoor curve. Yeah, key to playing them for me was a lot of movement.
If you have to get a kid out on any pitch, Crystal, forget what their strength is. What does Crystal want to go to?
A drop curve.
Drop curve?
Drop curve or a curve. I think it started raining here.
Yeah, you can see the umbrellas coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Big pitch right there after the wall. What was that? Was that a rise?
I think that was a curve in on her hands.
Okay.
Which course I like calling that. Curve on the hands.
I know as a pitcher, y'all like to strike as many out as you can, but how nice is it to be up in the circle knowing that you had that defense behind you?
Just gives you a lot of confidence and
Yeah.
comfort.
There's a catch that Jazz made, and there's a lot of things going through my head when that girl hit that ball, but Jazz caught it over her head. It'll come up here. And I thought I was literally praising. She probably looked at me like, don't you dare do that again.
I remember that Coach Montgomery was like, stay warm. And I was like, no.
How difficult is it to pitch out there when it starts to rain?
It's not nice. As you can see, I like getting the rosin bag. I don't even know if I had it out there, and then I had to use a towel as well, and then that is not something I like doing.
I'm pretty sure
I remember
just
getting
turned
sick
around
of-
and looked for it.
It's nice whenever they actually chalk the field instead of paint it, because I like using the chalk.
Mm.
There's that shift. Talk a little bit about the defensive shift, Jazz.
Well, we have like a slap D, and we have 3 different depths depending on the power of the slapper, whether they're a power slapper, average, or just like a touch and go slapper. Just because when you're a slapper, you're trained to hit the ball to that side of the field. So we shift our outfield just to cover the ground, the part of the outfield that we know that they're trying to place it to take away more hits.
I think it.
I think it's way. I mean, it burned us a couple of times, and when they hit it over our heads with us playing it that shallow, it's almost an automatic triple. But we've taken away way more hits than it's burned us on by far.
Yeah. And I also think it almost like adds a discomfort level to the hitter, because when you are a slapper and you are trained to hit the ball to a certain side of the field or let the ball travel so you can hit it the opposite way, when you have to change up your game plan and do something different, it makes you a little bit uncomfortable because it's something you're not used to doing. So when we shift into that defense, it makes them have to change their approach, their at bat, into something that they're not as comfortable doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, they want to hit it down the right field line where the gap is the biggest, but we're not pitching them to make them able to hit it down the right field line, but they're trying to pull the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So it just gets them out that much easier.
Berkeley,
Yeah.
you're standing over there at first base right now. Are you thinking, good gosh, if the ball comes this way on the ground, I have got to stop it, because if it gets past me, they're going to run for a day and a half?
No, honestly, that never really crossed my head. I always felt like I was pretty confident with fielding the ball, but that definitely never crossed my mind.
I can only think of a couple of times that the team that we did this and teams actually pulled it to right field.
Yeah, twice against Middle Tennessee.
I also think that Mare having a good outlook on the field too, and like, you know, she's gonna call that pitch from Forsyth. She has trust in, you know, whoever's out there pitching. You know, you got to hit the black or we're getting burned. You know.
Yeah, she kept an eye on everything. She was making sure where the batters are standing as well.
Mare would give us the look if it didn't work.
As a pitcher here, did Forsyth ever come inside?
Yes and no. I think on this girl, she's kind of off the plate a little bit.
There's a big out right there.
I don't know. As a lefty, I like to go inside on a lefty if she's crowding, just because I know that she's trying to take away that pitch because she's not good at it. But
Yeah, I think you also have to. I think we went in on them every once in a while just to keep them true, so they're not
Yeah.
just sitting on outside pitches, but not consistently.
Yeah.
Also depending on what type of hitter. If it's like a touch and go slapper, then yeah, you can go inside on them because they're not gonna pull a ball down the line for a triple. They're just trying to put the bat on the ball and beat it out.
Yeah, but about Ali Harrow, we learned our lesson there.
I hope people understand the amount of
I'm pretty sure that girl could hit everything.
film work that would have been done by the coaches and you guys too as players, I know, going into these conference series. I mean, y'all went in knowing everything about every hitter and every pitcher, didn't you?
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
I know I didn't get into too much detail with hitters. I mean, he just went over like the basics, like we've got to live here on this girl. We don't need to do this on this girl. Like you still got to go out there and play your own game to a certain degree. You can't just base your game off of stats the whole time. You got to just go play.
Yeah. I think it's a lot based on tendencies too. So when they get into a crunch situation, what's their typical go-to? What do they want to throw to you here? Or what do they want to get you out with? Or what is this hitter's typically strongest pitch to hit? So I think it was more about patterns and how often they occurred than actually studying every detail of what every pitcher and every hitter did.
Mm-hmm.
One of you mentioned it earlier, but I think it might have been Jazz, or Press. I don't remember who it was. But how much of the end of 2018 fueled y'all going into 2019?
Can you repeat the question? I kind of lost you a little bit.
How much of what happened at the end of 2018 fueled this 2019 group?
A lot. We truly talked about how us ending the season in 2018 made us feel the first day we stepped on campus in September and started working in fall ball. We truly talked about our goals, where we wanted to be, what we were going to do to not let that happen again, what went wrong, and stuff like that. So we truly didn't, it was the worst feeling in the world. And everyone knew we didn't want to feel like that again.
Yeah, like to top on that, like after the 2018 season, we grew so much closer as a team. Like, hey, she's got my back if I don't get this job done. But, like we didn't click the first day of season. We clicked the first day of school. It was the get-go from the beginning.
Well, and how much of that, because you kind of stole my question. Good job, Presley. How much of it is team chemistry? People talk about team chemistry all the time, and you look at those two seasons, and yeah, you had a few different players in 18 from 19, but for the most part, it was the same group. But y'all can correct me if y'all disagree with me. The team chemistry in 19 was so much different than what we had in 18.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just the way we set the tone, especially with the underclassmen. Like, we went on the field and we were determined. We knew we wanted to get things done, so the underclassmen went under our wing and did the same.
I mean, I feel like from the beginning we just kind of established like a tone of like stepping, like when you step on the field, like it's time to focus in and it's game time, and we're not here to like just be here. We're here to get a job done because we don't want the same thing to happen that happened the year before again. Because I think what was so hard about that is we had the talent. The talent was there. Like the players we had and the team we had, there's no reason we shouldn't have had another conference championship our junior year. But I think just as a mindset, as a whole team going into our senior year, it was like that's the only thing we're accepting this year.
For those people who are watching, y'all might want to close your ears because I'm going to recap. But in 2018, we went into the last weekend of the regular season needing just one win in a 3-game series out in El Paso to win the first ever regular season title. We led all 3 games going into the 6th inning, I think, of all 3 of them, and lost all 3 of them and ended up sliding from being the regular season champion all the way to the 4th seed in the tournament, and then went to Charlotte, won 1 game, and then lost 2 more. And I think both games we led late as well, if I'm not mistaken. It just was not a good into 2018.
Yeah, Montgomery even tried to pull the double-headed monster thing with me and Crystal, and that didn't work.
In El Paso.
Yeah. Hey, they got it done this last year, though. Good for them.
Guys set a lot of offensive records, team records and individual records last year. And a lot of that was because, I mean, this lineup, you went 1 through 9, and there was really not a hole in this lineup, was there?
No. It was awesome.
I think that was awesome. Like, no pitcher, it didn't matter what slot it was, they just didn't get to take a break. Like, they had to be on top of their game, every hitter, because 1 through 9, we were so dangerous.
I think another thing that made this group dangerous is you could beat people with the long ball. You could beat them by running the bases. In games that you could tell were going to be low scoring. I think Mark did a really good job of managing the game, get somebody on, steal them, bunt them over, whatever it took to get a run in.
I think that's what was really cool about this game is throughout the whole lineup, all of them could hit a bomb, and then you could also lay down a squeeze and get the job done either way. I thought that was cool. Being a pitcher, not be able to, help them on the offense side, but it was cool to watch.
I think you see here in, I guess, the 3rd inning, you'll have, when you have the Conference USA Player of the Year lay down a bunt, drive a run in, I think that shows you, Mark was willing to have you guys do, and you guys executed 9 times out of 10, whatever it took in ball games to score a run in a low scoring game. And you could tell that this thing was not going to be high scoring.
Mm-hmm. And that was just his coaching style too. I mean, he said early on, no one in this lineup is above putting a bunt down. I don't care how many home runs you can hit. If a third baseman's playing behind the bag on you, I want you to put a bunt down and beat it out and keep them true. And I think we did that throughout the season. I mean, and even in 2018 when Sloan, people were playing Sloan really deep, even now and then she would put down squeezes and sacks and stuff like that.
Jazz, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing since you graduated.
After graduation, I got a job in Shreveport with Frito-Lay as a district sales manager. But I actually found out yesterday that I'm getting transferred to Monroe. So I'm looking for apartments in Monroe and Ruston and stuff like that. But it's the same job, still doing a sales management job with Frito-Lay, just out of the office in Monroe.
And you started your career at Tyler JC. Talk a little bit about your road to tech.
I played at TJC, and I actually really, really liked it a lot, but I knew that I wanted to go higher up. And so I talked to a couple other colleges, but truly Coach Montgomery was like the only coach that I felt like, because I didn't know a lot of information about the recruiting process as far as me being eligible. And he was the only one that, told me exactly what I needed to do in order to be able to transfer somewhere after 1 year of JUCO. And because I did sign with the Division I in high school and ended up going to a junior college. So, and there was a lot of things that I had to go through to be eligible to transfer to La Tech my sophomore year. And he truly was the only person that told me everything from the get-go, not to just get me to Louisiana Tech, truly to just get me to a school that I wanted to be at. And that just kind of made the decision for me.
What was that little move out there, Morgan?
I was just laughing about that. Yeah. One time, I don't know actually how the routine started. Maybe Jazz remembers, but I just know we did it one time and we had 3 up, 3 down, and I was like, all right, now that this is the new trend, every half inning we're dancing, we're line dancing out here.
They're showing the clips of the tornado. We hadn't talked a lot about the tornado, but that tornado came right when we had lost 3 out of 4 games. We'd gone to Huntington and lost 2 out of 3. We'd come back home and lost to UL Lafayette. We had some big games left. Western Kentucky was coming up senior weekend, and you had to go to Southern Miss. Obviously, not something that you want to have happen, but how much of that kind of gave you guys some extra adrenaline, motivation, whatever you want to call it down the stretch?
I would say it fueled us a ton. After that tornado, we really had to come together as a team and play for each other, and that's exactly what we did. We really, truly loved each other and played for each other on the field, and it really showed.
I think especially winning sorry, Malcolm.
Go ahead.
Truly winning the Western Kentucky series, even though it wasn't on our own turf, it just brought us together, even though we were already close. I think it just put the cherry on top, like we're not done yet,
What do y'all remember about that night/morning?
I'll be honest, I slept through it. And I woke up to a lot of calls and texts, and I truly when I read the first text, I thought it was a joke, because how could someone sleep through a tornado? But then when I saw the calls and texts and they had sent pictures in our group message, I was like, oh my gosh, I really just played my last game on that field. And then I was just worried about my teammates and friends, just making sure they're okay. And so it was honestly, truly pretty scary. But with especially the tornado jumping over the dorms, that truly was just a blessing. That tornado truly went right over the dorms and jumped over them. So I think we just came out really lucky.
Berkeley, I remember an interview you did on the field that morning with one of the local news guys, and it was pretty emotional. It was a pretty emotional morning, wasn't it?
Oh, it was extremely emotional for me. I remember waking up just like Jazz. I slept through the tornado as well, and I woke up to 30 texts, 20-something missed calls, and I ran to Morgan's room because she was my roommate, and her and Mary Terrell had actually woken up in the middle of the night and went down and saw the field. And so Morgan was actually the first person that showed me a picture of our field, because I didn't have service at our house. And then Zoe, our other roommate, and her mom was in town. We all got into the car and drove down to the field, and it was just unbelievable. And yeah, the news crew was there, and they caught me kind of right after I was really emotional. So, yeah.
I remember Kimmy waking me up at 3 o'clock, and she was like, hey, I think we need to get in the bathtub. And I'm a really light sleeper, so I'm surprised she heard it. And me, Kimmy, and Kaylee got in the bathtub, and we were sitting there, and all we heard was kind of like a train coming, because it was pretty close to our house, and we thought the trees were going to be like a domino effect and hit our house. So we were obviously concerned about the girls on campus, so we actually got in the car at 3:30 right after it hit, and we went and got AJ and a couple of girls off campus and let them come to our house.
Y'all remember the team meeting we had that day? I think it was right around noon. I think we had it in the men's basketball film room. Of course, we had Western Kentucky supposed to be rolling in there. This was on a Thursday. The Western Series was going to be Saturday, Sunday. I remember talking to Mark that, all that morning, the conference is calling us because Western's wanting to leave to come down. And, we're trying to, Mark's like, I haven't even talked to my team yet about what their mindset is, their mentality is. And I remember in that meeting, him talking to you guys about, hey, you know what, do you guys want to play this series? Nobody's going to make you. Nobody's going to look, think twice about it if you decide not to. Do y'all remember that meeting? I guess kind of what the mentality was from y'all's side.
Yeah, I remember it pretty vividly. I mean, he kind of made that statement of, hey, no one's going to make you. But I think there was a pretty, large consensus when it came to the whole group of girls. I don't really think there was anything else we would have rather done than to play that series. It gets our minds aren't on it. And also we had so much backing when it came to the school support, the town support. I think that's kind of what people wanted and needed, was just an escape from what happened. And there was nothing else that we would have rather done than to play that series.
So 0-0, bottom of the third inning. Is kind of settling into a pitcher's duel at this point. We're rolling the top of the order back through. So Kimmy's about to come up second time through the order. I guess just talk from a hitter's perspective. Everybody has seen her once on this day. Are you making adjustments here? Hey, you already know her well enough. You don't have to make adjustments. What's the mindset?
I mean, I think as a hitter here, especially like the mindset you have, you make adjustments pitch to pitch. Every pitch is another image in your arsenal that you've seen from this pitcher. And this is not the first time we faced her. This is not our first at bat, whereas it might be the second time through the order, but we've seen this same pitcher 3, 4, 5 times before. So now we have the ammo and the the awareness of everything that she's thrown us. Now it's just, what plan are we coming up with to attack this at bat?
Kimmy just missed extra bases there. It's pretty close. So I'm going to set this up because it's coming up here in a minute. So I always, and y'all definitely correct me. Y'all are her teammates, so y'all can correct me if y'all disagree. I've always thought of Mo as a very even keel, somebody who doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. Now she's a perfectionist. I think we all agree on that. So when she gets out, she's not real happy with herself, but I think that's any hitter. But to me, I saw a different Morgan Turcoli, emotion-wise, and I guess you could say it about a lot of the players, but I can specifically think of, and we'll see one here in a minute, but she's a different player emotion-wise after the tornado down the stretch. Would y'all agree with that?
For sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that a fair assessment, Mo?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what clicked, or if anything, I don't know that anything really changed dramatically. I think it was just all setting in that, this is the last ride. So I was going to give everything because, I mean, it's even emotional now, but I did not want this to end.
We're about to see an emotional Morgan here in a second.
This clip will never get old. Like, I'll get chills when I'm 50.
That's funny.
What's your approach at this at bat, Mo? Do you remember?
I mean, I kind of remember. I think I get like down in the count maybe 2 or 1-2 or something like that. But I remember that pitch specifically. I was like thinking to myself, because I got fooled. I was way out in front, and I was just like, thank goodness I fouled that pitch off because I get to see another one. And I just was like in a different level of focus after that. Because I think sometimes I just get so excited that I saw that pitch a lot bigger than it was, and I was out in front, and I remember getting fooled on that pitch. So.
I think with the top of our lineup too, if anything goes wrong or like they get hit by a pitch or they like got out by a bunt, like you can tell, don't mess with them because they're about to come at you. But I think that was good too. I think it made the other teams kind of, timid.
Timmy's little legs going.
Chop, 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 chop.
Oh my gosh.
I thought I threw my arm out.
Look at that dugout. That ball had a little bit of top spin on it, didn't you, when you hit it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely pulled it, wrapped around it a little bit. But I definitely expanded my strike zone on that one. So I'm sure that's what happened.
Pretty sure the coach pulled the right fielder in too, and I was like, well,
Yeah,
that's
right.
He's about to
That pitch, he moved her from
Yeah.
exactly where Morgan hit the ball.
He
Oh,
put
wow.
a shift on. Yeah, he moved her into the gap and put a shift on. I remember. Well, I kind of saw it, but Jazz even told me, she was like, Morgan, the pitch before that, he moved her into the gap. And I was like, well, I'm grateful for it.
So conference player of the year, you're up 1-0. What do? You bunt.
This is the moment right here. I knew we were going to win. I was so happy.
I was so pumped.
I wish you'd have come and told the radio guy because he was still nervous all the way to the end.
I also think that hug right there represents like what we are about. Like that's what we do. That's why we click. That's why we won.
Agreed. Burke, you were Mo's roommate for 4 years. Did she practice those moves right there? Those little cheer moves?
Oh, all the time in the hallway in our stop.
I knew it.
No, I'm messing. No, she absolutely didn't.
Look at that dugout. So much of this game is about emotion, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And there was never a dull moment in the dugout either. Like just because we got an out, it was like, all right, who's up next?
Yeah.
Crystal, you're in the dugout. Your team's finally giving you a little bit of a lead here. What's your thought process?
I was basically the same as when the game started. I keep my cool, calm, and collected, like on games like this. I don't want to get too excited.
Yeah, I'm over there jumping around and I look at Jenny and Crystal and they're just standing there. I'm like, can you not just clickety clack them cleats or what?
Yeah, I know, like, before this game in the 2017 championship game, I was just in the dugout, like, while everybody was hitting and warming up. I would just sit there by myself and like not talk to anybody.
I also think that was your like game mode plan though. Like everyone knew you were in the mood to get things done out there when you were like in your zone. But that like every pitcher is different, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Sloan's at the plate here. She did a nice job for us when Maryland went down with that ankle injury against Western. She caught really well down the stretch against Western, and then those 3 games against Southern Miss, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she did.
In the conference tournament, she caught a couple in the Middle Tennessee game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely not easy to ask someone to, you know, step into a role that big when you're that late into the season, and she definitely took it head on with no questions asked.
I think a big turning point for Sloan that year was when she hit the grand slam against UNT Oppo.
Off a trout line.
Mm-hmm. Like that was a big moment for her.
Well, and if I remember, that whole week in practice, you guys worked on taking that outside pitch the other way against Troutwine. And she did, and that in that first inning chased her. We won't talk about the rest of that game, but.
Yeah, I just remember, you know, like everyone, Coach really made us like analyze ourselves, like our strengths and weaknesses in the box so we could, you know, work on our weaknesses more. And I just remember when we were preparing for Troutwine, Coach Montgomery literally looked at Sloan and he was like, this is going to be a good matchup for you.
Yeah, early on.
And he was not lying.
No.
Yeah, I think she hit 2 that weekend off a trout line, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Hey, Berkeley, I'll ask you, because you got to coach this year for Nevada on the college side. How different is it being on the other side of the equation?
It's a lot different because I'm the one putting together all the scouting reports and getting the team prepared now for the games, whereas I was given the information and got to watch film by myself and everything. But now I'm the one that's putting it all together, and it was definitely something that I had to get used to, but I definitely enjoyed it. I love what I do.
Did you find yourself seeing things differently as a coach than maybe you did as a player?
Yeah, I think as a player, I didn't really look into other people's stats and their tendencies as much as I probably should have. And I'm starting to notice that now that I'm the coach and I have to really examine everybody on the roster's tendencies and what they do. So yeah, I definitely see a difference from being a coach versus being a player and what I did.
What was maybe the biggest surprise, the biggest challenge for you here in year one?
As a coach?
Yes.
Probably being vocal towards my players. I feel like, I don't know how to really say this, but my knowledge of the game is just something that I didn't really have to work for. It just kind of naturally came to me. So with a lot of the girls I coach, I just automatically assume that they have my same thought process on everything. So one thing I had to learn was to be more vocal with them and really teach them what's in my brain and talk to them how to run through a play and just kind of give them my point of view. That was one thing that really was challenging me, and I'm still working on that today, just to get better at that.
Talk a little bit about your road to Louisiana Tech.
Well, coming out of the recruiting process, Montgomery, he was at Northern Colorado, and he was recruiting me to go to Northern Colorado and play there. And then during that time, he accepted the job at Louisiana Tech, and he just continued to recruit me down to Louisiana Tech. And I went on a visit, and I absolutely fell in love with campus and the team and just the environment and everything. So I verbaled my sophomore year of high school. And then shortly after that, I met Mo and Presley on our official visits. So I knew that was right where I needed to be.
They're showing kind of our little resume over there on the screen right now. What do y'all remember about that win over Auburn down in Mobile?
I was concussed.
So you don't remember much.
I think I lost my voice.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man.
Crystal, what happened right there?
Probably got too
David.
comfortable with that 2-run lead. Oh,
That girl could swing it though.
yeah.
She led the conference in home runs as a true freshman, so that kid could definitely hit it. What was the pitch? Do you know, Crystal?
It was supposed to be inside. Probably a drop that I left hanging.
Thinking right now. Crystal,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
what are you thinking right now?
Oh, that I had to buckle down and get it back together since we were only up by 1 run. Give them some momentum.
No, and I think that was key. If I'm not mistaken, you retire the next 3 kids here, so.
I just think it gives like a lot of credit that this game is a pitcher's duel, because truly offensively, both Marshall's lineups and our lineup this year, I mean, 1 through 9, the ball could leave the ballpark. You know, like everyone had home run power in this lineup on both sides of the field. So for this to be a 1-2 ball game just shocks me.
Yeah, these were the top 2 offensive teams in Conference USA in 2019, without a doubt. All right, y'all tell me, let's talk about the war paint on the face.
Presley,
I don't wear it. So,
Yeah.
Presley?
I wore it. I don't know. It just happened. I think I just got ready and I thought, I think I'm gonna add to it. So I just started it and then I added the glitter and then that's it. I don't know.
Honestly, I think it started back in 2017 with Pauline, and she was doing it all over her face, and it just then Presley started doing it the year after, and it was just kind of a thing that we did. Mainly Presley. Presley was kind of the trendsetter of it after Pauline, and then this tournament, everybody decided to put some on.
I just touch my face too much. I'm so bad about that. I'll wear eye black and then like rub my face and I'll get it like over my eye and just everywhere. So
I wore it a lot in high school, so I kind of got used to it. But that's not like original eye black. It was like kind of like some of them use the regular stick, but I use like Halloween face paint, and it's a lot easier to wash off. But I used it. I mean, whatever works.
it stayed.
Yeah.
We also used gold glitter that day.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I think at the bullpen, it started raining, so it started, my glitter started coming out. Well, I hit my arm like this on my face, and it got all over my jersey. I was mad.
It makes for some cool photos. I know that.
It does look good.
Yeah. All right, what's Forsyth telling you?
Eesh. You know, sometimes I just get frustrated with myself that when the coach and somebody would just go up there, I would be like, I need my space. But
Well, you've retired 2 in a row, and you're ahead in the count 1-2. So did you miss a sign? Did you miss a spot? Is it just talking strategy?
yeah, he was probably talking strategy, telling me not to give in on this pitch, asking how I was feeling. That's usually what they would do. Oh, it's because that girl hit a home run off of me whenever we played at Marshall. I think she hit a couple of them off of me.
Gotcha.
We're probably talking about the game plan for her to finish her off.
Well, you came back strong after giving up the home run, and 2-1. All right, Presley, I know you had some big news. Talk a little bit about what you've been doing and your big news.
Well, I got a contract today for a head softball coach at Lindsey. It's just 2A school, so I'll start doing that. When I graduated, I actually want to be a physical therapist, so did that for about 3 months and then switched gears to going back to the game that I've been playing since I was 5. So I got to get back to the game I love and gonna go from there.
So did you coach at all this year?
I didn't. No, I just started subbing and trying to get. With my degree, I couldn't get certified yet, so I started with Texas teachers, and then I've been doing courses throughout the year and just doing hitting and pitching lessons throughout that, and then basically gearing up to apply this year, and then got the coaching job today.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome. Talk a little bit about your road to Louisiana Tech.
I got recruited by Montgomery at the Ronald McDonald when I was summer of going into my freshman year in high school, I believe. And then he gave me like a 3-week period to, say whether I was coming or not. So, and it was a small town in which I'm from, so I loved it automatically. Came home and told Mom that's where I was going, and she hadn't even seen the facility yet. So I knew where I was going, and I said, hop on the train, Mom.
I can remember in the fall of your true freshman year, I remember talking to Forsyth early that fall, right after he had done, I guess, one of the first practices with you. And he was so excited because of how strong your forearms were. That's all he could talk about, how strong your forearms were.
I'm trying to get rid of them, honestly, because they're just really manly, and I'm not real proud of them now. I don't need them. I don't got to use them now, but I was actually recruited to play third and hit only, and then Montgomery asked me to go pitch in the bullpen with Forsyth, and Forsyth asked me if I was from Mars, so I think that was the trigger that I should probably start pitching.
So when we recruited you, it was not to be a pitcher necessarily.
No, I had no intention of going there and pitching. It was, hey, go through the bullpen, see what you got, and then we'll go from there. So, I still did lessons throughout the summer coming into my freshman year, just in case. It's always a backup. But I had it in my mind wherever I could play on the field is whatever's going to help my team the most. I don't care if it's left field, catcher. I don't care as long as I'm in the lineup.
Pretty good story for a young lady who becomes the 2018 Conference USA Pitcher of the Year. All right, 2-1 here. They just scored. Let's get a run back. How important is it to answer?
Very.
I think at this point we still have the momentum, but they did take a little bit back with that home run. So I definitely think it's important, if anything, to put some pressure on them here.
Yeah, and get some insurance runs so our pitchers can relax a little bit more in the circle.
How important, or is it important, about this on the radio, but you know, we went to UAB that year in 19 and swept them on that field, knowing we were going to be coming back for the conference tournament. We did the same thing the year before in Charlotte when it was there. We did the same thing the year before in Southern Miss when we swept them in Hattiesburg when the tournament was there. In fact, I think all 4 of your years at Louisiana Tech, we won the road series at the site of the Conference USA tournament. We swept. Is that important at all, feeling good going back to a place where you had success?
I think it's just important that we got a feel for how the field played before we got there to play the conference tournament, because every field is different. You know, the background, the ricochet on wild pitches, the outfields are different, infields are different. So I think it's good that we had an understanding for how the field was going to play.
I don't think it's so much. I don't know that we were really thinking about that we've won on that field before or that we were successful. I'm sure it didn't hurt at all knowing that we swept a series there. But like Jazz said, I think it's more of we got a feel and we were familiar with that setting. We had already played there that year.
Y'all like that? Y'all like that field, that complex?
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how big the dugouts are. And the good thing too is the mound. There's a lot of trouble with the mounds, and we kind of got spoiled with the turf, you know, at home always being flat. But I like a flat mound. Even though they called me for illegal pitching.
Yeah, I definitely think, until our new field gets built, I think that this is definitely the best, softball facility in Conference USA.
I would agree with that, Jazz. It'll be the second best in 2021.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yep.
We really hadn't talked about Mary in this particular broadcast, but she had quite the influence in 2019, didn't she?
Oh, yeah. She was just such a clutch hitter. Like, when you needed her to come through, she came through, and she came through big every time.
Yeah. She was just one of those people that like we said before, you really couldn't take a pitch off, and she was one of those dangerous hitters where one mistake and she made you pay for it, and she proved it time in and time out. So
If I'm not mistaken, if I remember right, she hit home runs 5 of her first 6 games that year.
Yeah.
And her biggest home run, probably, if y'all remember, we were down to UTEP by a run at home going into the last out of the 7th inning, and she hit one out into that wind. And then we ended up winning in extra innings to sweep the series.
She also won it for us. The very first weekend, we were going to lose to, I can't even remember.
First game. It was the first game. It was like Tennessee State or somebody like that.
Yeah.
We had no business losing to, and we were down late. You're right. All right, there's a mark. That was kind of prototypical for that year. What did we just do right there?
Fake front field.
yeah.
So Bailey Simone, she's not reading anything on that. Her job is just to go.
Yeah, I think it's more Coach Montgomery's read. Like maybe he saw the shortstop closer to second base and the third baseman playing up. It just gives us a little hole. So when we do show like a fake bunt and that third baseman bites it all, yeah, right there, the third baseman bites it all, you're going to beat the shortstop to the bag.
So bottom line is its position of the shortstop is the key on that, right?
Yeah, it's a big tell.
I just think that that fake bunt still just shows like our coach beating their coach, because if another team consistently did fake bunt steals to third, we would know about that immediately when we were talking about that in film. You know, so it's something that we would take away in our shift almost immediately because we knew that that was a threat.
That was the thing that I like most about like our plays is Montgomery is so tricky in that aspect that if, you know, like Jazz said, if anybody else was going to do it, we'd be right on top of it. Even whenever we did our scrimmages at Tech, you know, on the weekends, we would train ourselves to do that, the same thing. And that was one thing that I was like, whoa, like this game is such a higher level.
What are you thinking right now, Burke?
Honestly, I have no clue. I don't really remember my at-bats very well here. All I remember is really my hand being a really big influence, and I was just trying to do the best I could in the box because my hand was in so much pain at this point in the season. So I don't really remember what I was thinking.
When did you hurt that hand? I can't remember.
Well, I broke it my junior season, and then I re-injured it when I was sliding into home against ULM. I retweaked my joint and all that stuff. So.
And you missed a number of games, didn't you?
Yeah, I missed a really good majority of the season with my concussion and then with my hand injury.
So got the run back. Feel pretty good now. Back up to. Now, Burke, was that my hand hurt so bad I'm going to try to get a bunt down and beat it out? So
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what that was. A bump for a hit.
Yeah. Which hand is it?
It's my top hand, my glove hand, or I meant bottom hand, sorry, my glove hand.
So did it hurt over at first base catching throws?
Yeah, I had to, I played with an extra glove on and then a wrist brace to try to combat the throws that came. And I used the 13-inch first baseman's glove, which was a little bit different than my 11.5-inch fielder's glove.
I think I remember you talking to Mark about that, begging him not to make you use that glove. Am I right?
Yeah, I did not want to use the big glove, but it helped me be able to play, so I had to.
All right, Morgan, tell us what you've been doing since you graduated.
Okay. I guess out of college, I accepted a job back in the Dallas area, which is where I'm kind of from. My family's close by, so I moved back to Dallas, and I've been working for an IT staffing and consulting firm. We have a couple of branches, so we do IT staffing, consulting, systems integration, and executive staffing. So we have a couple like different paths that we can choose to go down. I haven't exactly figured out what my long-term path is, but yeah, I love it so far, and I'm with a company that is 90% former college athletes, so it's a pretty awesome environment, and the people I get to work with, we have some similar backgrounds.
And give us the 45-second version of your road to Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, so Coach Montgomery, kind of similar to Berkeley, got recruited out of Northern Colorado first. I think I was in a Colorado tournament going into my freshman year of high school when he first saw me, and then I came on a visit to Louisiana Tech, not knowing it was the same coaching staff that had moved over from Northern Colorado where they first saw me. But yeah, just kind of came on campus and fell in love with the family atmosphere and the support here. So it was a pretty easy decision for me.
All right, so this is this beginning right here, up 3-1. Crystal's kind of cruising along, only giving up one long ball, 2 hits, and in the last 3 innings, things get a little interesting. Good pitch right there. Maryland liked it.
Yeah, that was a backward curve.
Presley, you've been warming back and forth during this game, haven't you?
Yeah, Coach kept telling me to get warm, and I'm like, Coach, Crystal's cruising. I ain't going to warm up.
One of us threw a ball, he would tell whoever's in the dugout to go warm up.
Yeah. No, I think that was just a nervous tactic.
She tell you what, that wasn't a bad pitch right there. She just went down and got that.
If my throw would have been offline, I would have got her, or online, I would have got her.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad pitch.
It's probably like, what?
Yeah. I mean, she golfed that one out there.
I swear it wasn't me, Coach. It wasn't me.
So the tying run comes to the plate. Got a pinch runner, and I think they got a pinch hitter coming up.
Oh, Lord.
If I'm not mistaken, this is where Mark makes the move.
Jen knows every game, I swear she throws like a whole game out there in the bullpen. I'm like, are you warm?
She's always warm.
Fives from your team. That was a pretty good effort right there, Crystal. Keep that hits. All right. So, Jazz, if I was going to ask you to talk to a recruit about Louisiana Tech who was thinking about Louisiana Tech softball academically, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that it's amazing, but I truly think that it would be the right fit for just about anyone. I don't see how it couldn't be, especially with I just really like the environment in Ruston, and it's a college town and everyone gets along with everyone, and the community, everyone's so close that I don't really see how it could be a wrong fit for someone.
What do you like most about the school, Mo?
Well, there was a big family aspect to me when I even stepped on campus. Just the tradition and the culture that you're a part of when you're at Louisiana Tech is really unmatched, the fan base and everything. And I mean, talking to someone that's looking to come into Louisiana Tech as even a recruit, this catch is awesome.
Yeah.
This freaking catch, where?
Yeah. That was a game saver right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, first pitch.
I just remember it doesn't like look like I ran very far, but it truly was like one of the hardest catches because it was a line drive that was knuckleballing in the air and truly doing this. So I just remember like being like, you have to catch this ball. This ball cannot drop.
The hits that are hit straight at you are 100% the hardest to read. Because, like, you have to get a read off the bat. Does it have top spin? Does it have back spin? Like, it's almost like you have to pause for a second to see the trajectory of the ball because it's hit right in between your eyes.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't catch that ball, it's 3-2 and the tying runs on second base with nobody out right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge play. And, you know, again, people who didn't follow us all year, but you had a couple of tough opportunities in center field this year where you had balls in your gloves, you were robbing home runs, and they never seemed to stick, did they, Jazz?
No, they didn't. Unfortunately.
I remember Mississippi State, was that one of them?
Yeah, Mississippi State and then UNT. Those were, yeah. Both of them were in my glove, and then I ran into the wall, and they fell out of my glove.
All right, Press, what are you thinking right here? Besides, thank God for my center fielder.
Get it together. Marilyn basically came out there and talked to me like, what the heck are you doing? Because I had so much adrenaline. I just wanted to win so bad, you know. And, you know, Crystal did such a good job. I just wanted to back her up so much. And obviously that first pitch hit to Jazz wasn't the best. So I told myself, you know, you better get it together or you're going to sit down.
I just think Presley and Crystal complemented each other so much because not only are they two completely styled pitcher, they have two completely tempos and like mentalities on the mound. Like Presley's just like get in there back to back to back, and Crystal's kind of calm, cool, and collected, you know. So it completely throws off a batter's mindset and their whole game plan when they switch from one another.
Yeah. Definitely polar opposites.
Well, you have the top offensive team in the league, and then you have 2 of the 6 all-conference pitchers on your team. That makes for a pretty good team.
Yeah.
It's also, it's very comforting, you know, knowing that you've got pitchers to, you know, everybody has bad days, you know, nobody's perfect. So I think having a good complement backup in there is always good, you know, to get the job done when you can't.
Definitely.
Well, and we'll see Jenny and what her role is here in a minute. And, you know, Hannah was a freshman, and she had some good, I mean, she got a couple of wins, if I'm not mistaken, in relief when we went to UAB and got that series sweep out there. So she had some moments as well.
I mean, I don't think there's one pitcher we had that was like, they all brought their own element to the table. They were not, they were different in the best of ways. We could really throw anything at any team at any given time.
So that ground ball out right there, that might not look like much, but the one thing that we realized, I sure realized, and I'm sure Mark did too, you guys probably did too, but if that kid right there gets on, you got Allie Harrell coming up to the plate with an opportunity to put them ahead. Yeah. So that was a huge out Presley got right there with that ground ball, because that means Harrell will come up and lead off the next inning, and all she can do is hit a solo home run, worst case scenario. So that was a big out. Crystal, what did you like the most about Louisiana Tech?
Everything. Like when she got there, she was used to the small town environment, and that's exactly what I was. I wasn't ever around these big cities and whatnot. I liked on my visit how the coaching staff explained everything. Like coming from Division II, it was more disciplined, more committed. So they promised that, and it was promising throughout the 3 years that I was there. And just the bond with the teammates was so much better, and it was just an amazing opportunity and environment to be around. You
were the Conference USA Newcomer of the Year as a sophomore in 17. and then I think you would agree with me, you had a bit of a rough junior season, and then you bounced back. What was the difference between your senior year and your sophomore year, and then that junior year where you struggled?
Yeah, I think I just didn't commit to myself as much. That was it my third year, my junior year. In my senior year, I went in there wanting to end on a great note and just play for the team and the university and the town of Ruston.
Bart, what about you? You look back at Louisiana Tech. What would you tell a recruit?
Hell, I would tell a recruit that it's 100% a family atmosphere. No matter where you go in Ruston, whether it's on campus or off campus, people love Tech regardless. So I would definitely tell them that if that's something they're looking for, then Tech would definitely be a perfect fit for them. And then academics-wise, Tech's amazing. Being on the quarter system, it's fantastic. You can get through school so quick. You don't have to wait a whole semester before you get to the next class. You have 12 weeks, and then you're on to the next class.
Speaking of that, I see people like over here in the Austin area, and I guess they see my truck that has a Louisiana Tech sticker, and they'll put up like the Go Dog sign. I'm like, well, people over here too.
I see Tech stickers around here too, and they're older people, but I'm like honking my horn like "Go Dogs," and they're like, "What the?" I'm like, "Come on, throw it up."
I know we've talked in bits and pieces about different ones and so forth, but I guess just talk a little bit about that coaching staff with Mark and Emerald Doria, who's obviously our associate head coach, and then Mike Forsyth and Bianca, who handled the pictures. I mean, again, you got to have talent, but you got to have a good coaching staff too, don't you?
Yeah, well, just like the pitchers and the hitters complimented each other on the team, like all the players, the coaches complimented each other as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
Speaking to each one of them during my visit, it just was so comforting, and knowing that I'm gonna be leaving home like 8 to 12 hours away and going and being under that coaching staff was just a big part of it.
Yeah, they just all brought their own knowledge, their own element of the game. They complemented each other so well, and I mean, playing for all four of them, not only did they expect so much of us, but they gave us the mindset to expect so much of ourselves. So I think it complemented both sides really well.
And they were all so different in their coaching styles, but then so it was really no matter, and in softball, there's a million different ways to say the same thing. I don't know why there is, but I mean, I felt like they all had their own style. So it helped like certain players click and understand things when they were struggling. Different coaches had to help players. And I think that it worked really well because everyone connected and had someone that motivated them on the team. Oh God.
Right off the ear hole.
Yeah.
I saw it coming. I think it was like an off-speed curve or something like that, but because she was definitely ahead of me in the count. I'm pretty sure I got away from her. So.
Who's got dogs?
I think that's press.
Sorry.
It's okay. So when you're standing over there at first base, any of you can answer this. Y'all have conversations with the first baseman for the other team?
Occasionally, like we'll say something, but not. I mean, unless like an event happened where like he turned around and said something, I said something. But I mean, it was always like, I guess, civil and stuff like that. Like it was never like bad talking each other if something got brought up. But I don't know. I think when you're like competitive and just in the heat of the moment, you don't always talk to the other team typically.
Jazz, you know what that pitch was you just hit?
I think inside, but I can't remember if it was an off speed or like her regular speed, because I think she had 3 different speeds to her screwball. I don't know, but it was definitely a screwball. I can't remember if she pitched the whole game against us or not.
She did.
Okay.
I was gonna.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think.
I know in the first game they brought in their number 2, but
Oh, okay.
I was looking this up earlier. You know, we talked about the top of this lineup for us that year, and obviously all the offensive numbers. I was looking this up earlier and I got sidetracked, but single season runs scored. Of course, Morgan broke not only our record, but the Conference USA single season record was 67 that year. Jazz had 54, which was the second most in program history. And Kimmy had 48, which was tied for the 4th most. So 3 of the top 4 in program history in a single season came that one year on that one team. A, you got to get on base, and B, you got to have people behind you to drive you in.
Mm-hmm.
my job was easy. All I had to do was get on base.
Yeah, so easy.
Jazz was usually right behind me to hit me in. Really, I was like thinking if I got on base and could find my way to second base, that was it.
So did you like hitting in the 2-hole?
Yeah, I personally really liked hitting the 2-hole. I think it opened up a lot of of different styles of games of the game for me, whether I wanted to go to a more of a short game, or if the defense was playing me back, go to a more of a short game, or it also allowed me to hit for power. So I liked it. I thought it gave me more options in that position.
Your freshman year, you hit 10 home runs, if I remember correctly. You weren't a home run hitter, but so why were you able to hit 10 as a freshman? I think you might have had 7 or 8 the rest of your career. What was the difference?
I mean, I think my freshman year I was just in a position where I thought that was what was needed of me. I was in more of a power hitter position in the lineup, and I was more I don't know if I was more in the mindset of I have to get these runs in, I have to drive in runs. My position I think I was the 4-hole, if I remember correctly, my freshman year, but since then I moved to the 2-hole, and I just kind of had a switch in mindset where my job was to get on base. I thought if I just got to first base, I could either use my speed and steal second base, or I had people behind me that were coming through in the bottom of the lineup. And I think I just had a switch in mentality after my first year, and I never really viewed myself as a power hitter going in. I think going into my freshman year, being in that position, I was able to hit more home runs, but that was never really a goal of mine. I think those just came with looking to drive the ball over the fence.
Jazz, where was your favorite place to hit in the lineup?
3-hole has always been my favorite spot in the lineup. ever since I was like started playing softball.
Didn't we have you batting leadoff for a while one year?
I think for 2 seasons I let off.
Okay.
But I can't remember. I don't know if I let off my sophomore year or not.
I couldn't remember where Tori batted. Was she in the 2-hole or the leadoff when her? Because I was thinking as a senior she was in the leadoff.
We always had a lefty in 2-hole.
Yeah.
Tori
Yeah.
then.
For some reason, yeah. We always had lefties. Really did not ever lead off all 4 years.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Here we are. Allie Harrell steps up. In comes Jenny. And one thing that the announcers in this broadcast never caught is that in this particular at-bat, Presley is now playing first base for Berkeley because Mark wanted to keep Presley alive.
Yeah.
He was only planning on Jenny one batter.
This was not a good sight for me. I was like, where's my mask? Where's the glove? What foot goes on the bag? What's going on?
You're hoping she doesn't hit it to you.
Exactly. Yeah. Do not hit it towards me.
Presley, I think everyone on the field is hoping that she doesn't hit it to us.
But for the second day in a row, Jenny comes in and gets Allie Harrell out.
Yeah.
And look at the smile on her face.
Yeah. That was her job. And she did. She knew
That's
it.
what Gin Dog does. I was so happy she hit that pop-up. I was like, all right, I'm good.
Yep, she got 2 of the biggest outs in the conference tournament for us. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure the one the day before wasn't even bigger situation. But so she comes out. Bert goes back into first. Presley comes back into pitch. One thing, spoiler alert for those of you who don't know. So and Jenny came in relief and did not give up a base runner in 3 innings. Closing the door, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think I asked Jenny if she just wanted to stay for one more batter because it was just one more out.
Yeah, Stevenson's coming to the plate.
I said, Jenny, you won, right? You can come back in.
So you got 1 out, 6th inning. It's starting to get late. Do nerves come back into play the later it gets?
For me, it did. I mean, it was definitely crunch time for sure. Even though we were up to it, it's still a close ball game.
Yeah. I don't think it's so much about like what inning it is. I think it's the fact of where we are in their lineup and who we're facing at that point in time. Like we genuinely just faced their 2 best hitters.
I remember I was just yelling at Presley to stay in the game and to keep it up. I was the relieving, I finished the game in the 2017 championship, so I wanted her to go that final out for this one.
And Bert makes a heck of a play right there at first base on a
Yeah, she did.
That ball was hard.
Yep.
What kills me about this play is Berkeley just acts like it's the most casual ground ball known to man.
That, whenever she was saying her hand was there, I was like, no, it's not.
Berkeley, you're muted.
Yep, sorry, Grayson was in the kitchen. That play was unbelievable, and my hand didn't hurt at that time.
It's all the adrenaline. I definitely think that it increases as the game goes on, especially now, right now, 3 outs away, it just goes through the roof. It doesn't matter that it's you try not to think about it, but it's always in the back of your mind, 3 more outs and that's it. So
Yeah. I caught myself taking off my mask right there. I think it's because I think I had so much confidence in Jazz, but probably shouldn't do that. But I think we knew right then that we just had 3 more outs.
Yeah, I didn't know where that ball was hit, but I just noticed it. She literally made contact, and you just took off your mask and grabbed your bag. I was like, okay.
I was like, we gotta hurry up.
All right, let's score.
So, year 1 away from softball as a player, what did y'all miss most about the game?
I miss my teammates and taking ground balls.
With each other and the exciting game atmosphere.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely the teammate aspect of it. Even like, it's not so much like the little details in the game. Obviously, like I miss being on the field and playing in between the lines, but the stuff that happened off the field that you just like share with your teammates, like that's the stuff that you remember all like throughout the rest of it. So I really miss that.
Mm-hmm.
I miss just like catching up and like cracking jokes in practice, but also being serious like when it needed to be time. Like moments like this, like, you know, we worked hard, but you can also have fun while you're doing it and play with people that want to be there too.
Any of y'all start your slow pitch softball career yet?
I tried.
Yeah, I tried. I was not as successful at slow pitch. It's hard.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, they put me at third, and I tried to hit, and that was long gone. I didn't stop doing that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I haven't picked up a bat since that all ended. I played like one slow pitch game, I think, a month after season ended, but other than that, I haven't picked up anything yet.
Who's had a tougher time, y'all or the parents?
Parents.
My mom texts me every day.
My parents finally let go of the batting cage. I haven't used the batting cage in like 4 years.
My mom texted me every day and said, "Have you quit your job yet? I want you to come coach some softball." No, I didn't quit my job.
I had that offer to play with the Mexican Olympic team.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go visit my dad. He's like, Olympics? Olympics? Have you talked to the coach? I'm like, sure.
And fortunately, my parents still get a taste of it, so they're not missing out on too much. I'm just not on the field. Well, in between the lines, I should say. I'm on the field, but
I mean, my dad, I used to talk to my dad like every day, and it was always like the first question was like, "Hey, how was practice?" And now it's just like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
I feel like there's just like not as much of like a conversation starter. It was just always like mine and his thing. But yeah, he's definitely, I think he's probably missing it more than I am right now.
Yeah, mom and dad are just like, are you not gonna like go play slow pitch or like put on a uniform? I'm like, no, I'm done. I'll coach, but it's not my turn.
Obviously, you want to score more runs. You can never score enough. But in some mindset, are you like, let's hurry up and get 3 out so we can get back out there and get these last 3? No, score runs, huh?
Yeah, I could have used a home run here just for my nerves.
Yeah, I remember Coach always saying, if they were 3 runs up above than you, then it's hard to catch up then. But if it's below 3, that's pretty easy to come back. So, I mean, I was hoping for more runs, but if I got 2, I'm going to use them.
Well, at least you're in the job knowing that you just got through their number 2 and their number 3.
Yeah. I think the last inning was more nerve-wracking than the 7th just because of who we faced.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And again, kudos to Preston and Jenny. I mean, they never put a runner on base in the last 3 innings, and that helps with the pressure. All 3 pitchers did their job. It's a very good offensive team.
I think that's part of all elements of the game. We didn't have errors. Our pitching was there and our hitting was there, and that's the good thing about, you know, winning the championship. If you have A, B, and C, you're gonna do something good.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did not have a weakness on this team.
Well, take them outside.
Ooh. Kudos to catchers, because I don't know who would sign up for that.
Well, you know, the kind of crazy thing, and again, it's part of it, but you're sitting at 40, what were we at? 44 wins, 43 wins right here, 43 wins. And if you don't win this game, you're not going to the postseason. Or if you're a power five,
There wasn't an if game. I can't remember.
no.
What, no if game? Yeah, I remember being very upset about that because we were undefeated in this tournament.
Yeah, it was because of the rain, and they pushed it up, and when they pushed it up, they canceled the if game.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, there is no if game.
Oh, yeah, because we did that to FIU our sophomore year.
Yep. Once you get to the championship day, there is one game, winner take all. So it worked for us at our advantage in 2017 for sure.
Yeah.
All right, you're 3 outs away. This is when Mark should have been talking to y'all about the prop to do a dog pile.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not something coaches think about teaching, huh?
I think dog piles should be banned after this one.
Yeah.
Yep. Leave it up to our team to have somebody get hurt in the dog pile celebrating. Just about how that year went, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Came to injuries.
Oh. Now that I think about it, I think the only people in our lineup that were injury free were me, Morgan, and Lindsey. No, Lindsey had to get stitches the very first game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of my visor.
You're the lone survivors, Jazz.
We made it.
You're probably right. I mean, as you go through that lineup, Bailey Simone,
She had that ankle injury, right? That she
but
was
did she
like,
miss any games?
no, but she like waited to get surgery till right after season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we only had 8 games that year where we had the full complement of the roster.
Wow.
Yeah, 8 out of what did we play? We were 45 and 16, so 8 out of 61.
I'm so excited. Sorry, I'm just dancing in the outfield. Oh my gosh.
My adrenaline was through the roof. My feet were like tapping on the mound.
I just remember everything was in slow motion. I was like, come on, hurry up, faster.
This girl hit a bomb on me when we were at Marshall, and that ticked me off.
I think she hit 2.
I think those,
Yeah, she did.
one of them had 2 off me, I think.
Way to bring back the memory spurt.
They hit a lot of home runs on us at Marshall. No,
Yeah.
It was, I think it was I can't remember her name, but her number was 27, and it was like her first game back, like all season.
I think it was Gia Marino. You know, the center fielder. Either her or Russo.
I think it was Rachel Russo. Is that her name?
Yep.
Yeah, she hit like 3, and that was like her first series back. Like she had missed like half the season for something. But it doesn't matter because we're about to get another ring.
I say in these situations in late games when you're up 2, this leadoff batter is so important to get out. You get that first one out.
Oh, I do remember this girl because she is the one that literally on our scouting report it says like hits to right center or something. And I truly remember like telling Mary like 10 times, it's coming your way. It's coming your way. Are you ready? Because it's coming your way.
Yeah, you were right.
I don't know. Did that pitch go to the backstop?
It did. It went off the top of Maryland's glove.
Oh, I was like, what was that?
Bailey made that play look easy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now what are y'all thinking?
We're about to win a ring.
How do you want to be the person that makes the last out here? Do you want to catch the ball? Are you kind of hoping to you?
Sure.
Yeah.
That first pitch to that last batter, it felt so good. I remember that. Like, just getting ahead, having, like, a good pitch always feels good, like, you're on top already.
There it is.
Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there it goes.
There goes the dog pile.
And there's the torn ACL. Oh my gosh.
We're like, is everyone okay?
I was at the bottom of that dog pile and I did not care.
Me too. I was literally on the bottom.
I think all bottom.
So here's a tough question. Which one is 17, 19? Which one was sweeter?
I like the 17s.
I
don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I would probably pick this one just because it was like such an awesome way to like end our careers. And even though like we still had like a game or some games left to play after this, it was so sweet. And the fact that we just dominated this whole tournament. I think kind of our sophomore year, we were a little bit of the underdog, and which was awesome. Like to come out on top as the underdog is awesome, but also to be at the top and prove like why you're at the top is also, it's sweet in its own way.
And I think it was like a fairy tale ending to the whole tornado, and to be able to bring that trophy back to Ruston when everybody's kind of torn down right now. It was so awesome for us to go to UAB and pull this off and then be able to bring that trophy home for everyone.
I think 2017 was cool, and I wish the players on 2017 could have played with us in 2019, just because it was such like a family atmosphere then too. But like Burke said, the 2019 one with like basically life getting thrown at us from all different directions, it was like a cherry on top, you know, like we're here, what else do you have, you know, to put in the basket, and we'll still end up on top, you know.
I think they were both awesome. I have to agree with Morgan about like this 2019 championship just meaning a lot more and being more memorable, but 2017 was kind of a repeat. You know, we were sophomores, but in the same way, like the seniors, that tournament dominated. Like Pauline had an amazing tournament, you know, knowing like that could have been her last game. Tori dominated that tournament, knowing, you know, you just play a lot harder when you know, like, I probably won't be able to lace up my cleats again, you know? And then also, you know, Shannon Sale was just such a tough pitcher to hit off that year, and we wanted to win so bad. We had already lost to her 4 times, I don't even know, but we were just frustrated because we kept getting beat by the same pitcher, and to come off top in the championship game just was pretty sweet.
Yeah, you guys were a lot of fun to watch, that is for sure, and this will be something you guys obviously remember forever. But, well, hey, thanks. That was fun, wasn't it? Kind of a trip down memory lane. Only a year old, but hey. Well, we will. I appreciate you joining us, and 2021 when the new stadium opens, I to all you guys to be back there. I think we're going to do something reunion-wise, so it should be a lot of fun.
We should play alumni games.
There you go. We might
Yes.
do one. We'll do one on that Friday night or something. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. But well, y'all stay safe, and thank you for everything you did representing Louisiana Tech. And I know I'll be in touch with all y'all. All right.
Alrighty.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Y'all.
Thank
Bye,
y'all.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.